Good morning, everybody. This is Johnny S with another R6 vlog. Today we're going to talk about education system, and it's not by luck that I'm sitting outside of a school. So this is the weekend. It's a beautiful day. The sun is back out. I'm going to try to keep, again, like I said, the video short. Most of these videos that I'm making, some of them they take more than like 1 hour, which I realize they're very difficult for people to follow and listen. So I'm trying to keep them within 20 to 30 minutes of topics of discussion. Please excuse the camera if it's moving around. It's because, to simply put, the tripod is a little bit of cheap quality. And because we are outside of a school, there might be some cars passing by, so I do apologize ahead of time for the sound. If there's some background noise, I'll try to pick out the most quiet place so there's not many people. I don't want to get distracted, lose my thought process, and also not to bother anybody. I think the acoustic here is quite well. We're getting shielded by the wind, so the sound should be reasonably good. I have not tested the camera in such a distance. Usually it's much more closer, or usually it's on the desk like you've seen in previous videos. So this is going to be a good test, and if it does blow, we've got the sponge on, so hopefully that cuts down the noise. Another thing also to have mentioned previously, but I'll say it again, to anybody that has a GoPro, to all the GoPro owners, activate wind cancellation always. I know many people say that sometimes it cuts down on some sounds that you might want to go through. Yeah, and compare that to comparing to listening to all the fucking wind and noise and stuff. Enable it. It is blowing a little bit. You might see the camera shift. I do apologize for that, and I'm sitting a little bit uncomfortable, but this is as comfortable as can be. There's a lot of ants here. They're actually crawling up my, let's not say what exactly, and they're pinching me. But whatever, this is nature. Get used to it. I have made a couple of points that I'll try to go through them just so I don't lose my thought process. I hope you can see my bike. We've got the R6 next to us. Our sexy lady. I think it shows a little bit, just a tad. And I tried to pick there's a lot of graffiti on the wall. There's inappropriate things. I tried to choose the side of the wall that has less inappropriate things. This is another recent point. As you all know, I am a father. I have a 6-year-old son. He just finished year 1. And this is the topic of discussion today. School education. I'm going to call it school education. There's a lot of how can I say, trends. There's a lot of popular beliefs on the subject, and these vary from person to person, from teacher to teacher. And I'm not here to say which is right, which is wrong. I'm just explaining my thought process because this is a current issue, and I have encountered this with my son. I want to get my thoughts out there to whoever is to similar beliefs. Leave comment below. Like I said, I've got no blocking on my comments, so you can, if you want to swear, I don't care. I've got no blocking, it doesn't bother me. I've gone past that stage. To simply put, I don't give a fuck. Okay? So if you've got negative comments, if you disagree, whatever, that's not the point of the video. My point is not to convince you. My point is just, the point of the video is to discuss, get these thoughts out there. Maybe some people will disagree, some people will agree. But in any case, it will get your mind to work around specific subject. And our subject is school education. So I've gone through many different school systems. I've done year 6 up to Greece in 91 when I was 11 years old. And then we left Australia, as many of you know, and we left Greece and went to Australia, my whole family. So from half of year 6, I used to do ESL classes, which is English Special Learning classes. Because I had not done a lot of English in Greece, my English was really bad. And I do still have an accent. My accent is not Australian, it's not American, it's like the Greek-Australian thing, if that makes sense. It's weird in any way. My brother, because he was much younger, he's 4 years younger than me, he's actually picked up on the accent much more. So when I hear him talk with my cousins, he does sound more Australian, let's say. The way he cuts the words and everything. So I went to Australia. There was a lot of bullying. There was a lot of racism. I did have a hard time. That's not the point of today's subject. I don't want to dwell into that too much. But it was difficult. It was difficult for me. I faced many challenges and I got through them. And because of these challenges, I was always the outcast at school. And I'm not saying that I'm anything special, but I was a very different character, and I see similar characteristics to my son. Socially wise, I was a very closed off person, which is counterintuitive to the fact that I've actually got a YouTube channel at 44 years old. I got late into it. But I was very antisocial, you know what I mean? I always made friends with bigger kids than my age. Like more mature in my thought, I don't know what it is. Which at the beginning was okay because I had friends, like when I was at year 2, 3, 4, I remember I had bigger friends always. But once I became the bigger guy at school, like year 5, year 6, I felt very lonely, I felt very closed off to myself, and I was in a different country. Nevertheless, even though I went from a young age and I learned the language and everything. I hope I don't bother anyone. Yeah, some people are walking past. So because it was a different country, it wasn't my country, Australia was a whole different sort of thing. It was difficult for me, a lot of racism, a lot of challenges that I faced. But I did get through it. One of the things that I had when it came to school and when it came to me learning things was that I was very rebellious. I was very negative because of all the things that I faced previously. And I see the same sort of behavior on my son. I had a very unique way of learning. I was more of a photographic memory. I was not very good in English, in language, let's say, subjects, but I was very good at mathematics. I was like top in mathematics to the point that my teachers hated me. And I know it's a strong word, but like I said, some teachers are good, some teachers do not follow the, how can I say it, the ideal way of, let's say, teaching. They were getting actually pissed, you know, they were thinking that I was cheating, they were thinking many of this. Mathematics to me was like natural, it was like, yeah, whatever. It seemed silly. I was at class, I was like, to me it seemed as if retards were playing with matchsticks, you know what I mean? That's how silly it was. But on the English, it was much more difficult for me. I could not, it seemed boring, it was not uninterested. And same thing happens to my son as well. And this is why I want to get into it. I'll try to keep the video as short as possible. I'm against many of the teaching ways that a lot of teachers have followed, and I do excuse them. I'm not trying to put the blame on them. They're trying to do the best they can. They've got a lot of kids, a lot of different characters, so they have to follow a certain a mean, let's say, an average line of and that means that some kids have to adapt to it. But for some kids it's much more difficult. For some other kids it's much more easy. My son is having a hard time to the point that we got an extra tutor, and because the schools are finishing now, she's going to help him with things. So it's not like I'm against, get an extra teacher, get this, get that. Yeah, help your son, your kid, as much as you can, but don't go overboard. We got some, my son's godparents, they've gone overboard. They take the kid to like a language skill learning, a spelling learning, play learning. Like they've got, and it's a money wise as well. You know what I mean? And I do see that it has become a trend. Psychologists, psychotherapists, like the kid is gone spastic. It's gone crazy to the point that I think has a negative effect to it. And I don't mean to be an expert, but I see some tics which are evident, and to them they're not. And because they're very touchy on the subject, I have not discussed this with them, at least to the point that, I want to express some of my opinions. But because this is, like I said, YouTube, it's anonymous, I can mention some things a little bit more freely without stating specifics, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to say names, I'm not going to say anything. To whoever is doing that, and if you think you know who you are, then okay, I don't mind, don't take this as a negative thing. And to whoever thinks that they're doing something like that, think a little bit about it. Think about the uniqueness of your child. Try to help him, but don't always listen to a comment that the teachers make. My parents, it was a long time ago, okay, and the parents were There were different times. You know what I mean? I used to get smacked around a lot. I used to get beat up all the time from my parents. It was difficult. Okay. Nowadays the kids are much more relaxed. They don't get bullied. They don't get pressured. They don't get nothing. When I was young, my parents used to smack me left, right, center. So it was a fucked up process. There's a lot of people walking from the background, so I might lose concentration. But don't worry about it. We'll try to stay as focused as possible. And it's obviously a school, so I am inside their domain, let's say. But you might hear some chatter on the background. I'll try to stay as focused as possible and try to keep the video as short as possible, but it is something that was on top of my mind, and I did want to get it off my chest and share some of these thoughts with you. I will try to say, in Greece there's a Greek saying we say "panmetron," and that basically means everything in moderation is virtue. Everything is good as long as you do it in the right measure. You know what I mean? Don't go overboard. And that's a general principle in life that if you try to follow, I think it will serve you right. Don't go overboard. Listen to what the teachers say, but don't neglect your child. Don't presume to put your child at fault, because the child is going to feel that. And if he feels judged unfairly, it's going to affect him and he's going to behave in a negative manner. My parents used to do that. The teachers used to say a whole bunch of shit to them. John he's hyperkinetic, he doesn't study, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, and it's a shame because he got a lot of potential. And my response to that is, who the fuck asked you? You know what I mean? Does every single fucking kid has to be a teacher? I have to grow up to be like you? No. Whether I have potential or not, and especially my mathematics teachers used to do that shit, because they were obsessed with mathematics and they saw my capabilities, which it is understandable. Like I said, it is understandable. But they were looking at it from their egotistical perspective. You know what I mean? I was not born to be a fucking mathematician. Everybody in this life is to follow their own path. You know what I mean? Whether you're an Einstein and the teachers will like, it's a shame, John, like you're doing math as if it's like fucking 1 + 1. Yeah, okay, I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want to do it. And once I left school, I went to college. I also got a private tutor and everything. My grades went up because I stopped being rebellious, because it was my way. And what did I end up doing? Electrical electronic engineering, you know what I mean, which has got fucking hectic maths. Engineering maths A, engineering maths B, C, calculus. I did all that. And within 1 month, my grades went from a 43% average to a 93. Are we fucking serious now? It shows that I had the capability, but I had to do it my way, not being forced. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this video towards the parents. Try not to overly force your kids. I understand that you worry, and when you hear a lot of things from teachers, you're thinking of what can I do good for my child, and is what I'm doing negative for my child. Don't go overboard. Try to keep a balance. Listen to what the teacher's doing, but know your child and know his character. You know that your child better than anybody else, or you should at least know your child better than anybody else. Don't let other people dictate how you're going to grow up your child, you know what I mean? And listen to your child. It might be difficult for him to do a specific subject. Don't overly force him. Let him follow his path. Let him be unique. Be unique. There's a saying that I heard, which has stuck with me, that every single human is as unique as each one of the leaves of a tree. Meaning that none of us is the fucking same. None of us is the same. We're all unique. We are all human, yes. There are some guidelines, psychology guidelines, and some things that fall within contexts, which, they can guide us and they can help psychologists and many people kind of guide you and assist you, but not one path is right for everybody. You know what I mean? Even the teachers and things and guiding and everything, they do it based on some guidelines, you know what I mean? But is that the best way for you? That's up to you. That's up to the parent to judge and do accordingly. So yeah, I mean that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about. It's not a big topic, you know what I mean? I try to keep it as short as possible, but my advice to everybody, and again, like I said, don't take it as advice. My approach in life and my perception is try to find a balance. Don't go overboard. And that's also a hint towards mothers, because mothers are much more like us fathers. We might seem a little bit like, the kid is alright, you know what I mean? It's not because we're on nuts. In Greece we say starchidya mas, you know what I mean? It's not because we are on our nuts, we don't give a fuck. It's because we are more relaxed, and it has to be balanced. That's why the father is like that and the mother is like that. Both are needed. The mother is because the maternal instinct comes out. She worries more, like, should I do something, or is there something that I should be doing for my child and I'm not doing? Don't feel guilty. don't let those emotions guide how you're going to behave on your child. Currently with my son, because he has those characteristics that I had, we have scheduled from September to have one session with a psychologist, which is going to help him on the social. But there's many psychologists that we talk to in order for us to conclude and arrive to this decision. Many of them were pointing many different things. He's antisocial, he's very intense in his feelings, he doesn't know how to manage them, it means that he lashes out, it means that he does this, it means that. Every single psychologist that we went to, and we visited quite a few, just to get an idea, you know what I mean? They all stated many different things. There was only one psychologist, the one that we have selected, which tied all this together. And she said that he is a closed-off character. Some things you cannot change in a person. Our job is not to change his things. It's just to teach him tools on how to handle this, so he doesn't feel lonely. And in conjunction with intense feelings that because of his age and as he grows older, he will learn to manage, but at the moment he is not able to manage them properly, it might cause some strange behaviors. And when we asked her, so is it worrisome? Is it something that if we leave it, it's going to get worse? She said, no. But if you want my suggestion, and she seemed like, you never know, but to us, she seemed as if she was not there to take our money. You know what I mean? She said, for me, when September comes and he starts school again, then we'll have a discussion. You don't need to take him more than once a week, and the lessons are going to get more spread apart. She did sit down with him. He's very social. He's very social. Because he's intense on his feelings, once he gets someone in his circle, he obsesses them, because he's very a sentimental person. Therefore his gameplay is much more in touch with his feelings, and he obsesses other kids as well. So he's able to but that's the problem for the other kid, to go within his circle. Once he is within his circle, he forms a very strong bond, and the way that he plays is he actually triggers the imagination of other kids around him. So he's got positive things as well. I mean, the problem is his openness. I mean, sometimes we go to the park, we say, why don't you play with that boy? Another kids have asked him. I mean, they have told him, hey, dude, come play with us. No, I don't want to. It's not that he doesn't want to, it's just that he doesn't know how to. You know what I mean? So we're trying to help him out on those subjects. And as far as the education system goes, like I said, we're getting a tutor 2 hours a week, and she's going to help him at least with the language things. But even she said that he doesn't have a problem, it's just that he's falling a little bit behind. And you're not going to change the system. If you ask me personally, I will say that back in my day there were much less subjects, both in Greece, because I've done Greece up to year 6, and in Australia. In Australia even less. So that's another reason why I was coming first in my class. The Greek level of mathematics is much higher, and to me even that seemed silly. When I went to Australia, you can realize how silly it was. The mathematics that we're doing in Greece here on year 6, they did them on year 8. That's why I was coming first in class, and because it was easy for me. Okay, but I was never good in math because I did not study in class. You know what I mean? Once I got past that, and I actually got a tutor because I did it my way. That's the thing that you need to get across to your child, that we're going to do it, but it's going to be your way. You want to do this, get him involved. Him, her, get your kid involved in the process, and you will see different results straight away. Make no mistake about it. That I can guarantee. I might not know much, but for that I have seen it personally with myself, and I have seen it with my child as well. So my ass is getting sore, a little bit uncomfortable. Like I said, we'll try to keep the video as short as possible, but try to keep different elements in your mind. You know what I mean? It's not. I will give another example just to put things into perspective. When I was young, I used to go to school 1:30, 1:15, something. We finished, we went to home. I used to study with my mom. Sometimes my dad was at home because he used to work shifts, and we studied for like an hour, and then we were done. Okay, 2 o'clock maximum. Okay, what's today's like children? You go to school, parents are working, so you take him to the station, which basically holds your child up to 5 o'clock, 5:30, and they also study. They do 2 hours of studying, but they break them with gameplay. So when he first goes to the station, they start studying, they go through the lessons, then they have a break, they have another session, and then they relax. That's 5:30, that's 5:30. Your kid is outside of your house up to 5:30. He's tired. Once he goes, what we say in Greece is, we say there's an expression, ρίχνει ρολό. You know what I mean? It means he shuts down. He doesn't want to fucking study, he doesn't want to do nothing. And that goes all to the all other parents, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we might do it as well. I'm not excluding myself from these behaviors. It has time where I have seen his bag, and it might be like 7 in the afternoon. I come from work, I have a look at his bag, and I will say something like, hey, what's this? You didn't finish this, you didn't finish that. Fuck it. Fuck it. Don't talk to your child after a specific amount of time about fucking lessons. He has to shut down. And the only thing that you're going to get, and that I have gotten as well, is bad negative response. It's going to be something like, Dad, you're doing this, you're doing that all the time, you personally, I don't like her and love you. You're going to get that type of behavior, which is, it's not going to help him, it's not going to help you, it's not going to help anybody. Try to avoid those things. Put everything in balance. Try to find the balance. And I know it's difficult. Not a single one of us has found the perfect balance, you know what I mean? But try when it comes to your child, when it comes to learning things, try to keep try to find the perfect line for the character of your child, and no one can tell you what this is. I cannot tell you. Nobody can tell you what the perfect way is. You know what I mean? It's the perfect way for you. Anyway, we'll end the video short before we get a fucking lizard up our ass. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for your patience. Hope you have an awesome, great day, and I bid you goodbye.